Awesome. That is awesome. Well, good. Happy everybody had fun. I was so consumed with that brisket smoke that I got no sleep the night before the 4th.
Oh, no, Steve.
But it worked out great. I didn't burn the house down. The brisket turned out perfect.
The pictures look great.
I fell asleep at 8:30 on the 4th at night, 8:30 at night. Woke up at 11 because somebody was setting off fireworks across the street, and it was the loudest bang I've ever heard in my entire life. And for an hour just setting up fireworks, and I started watching it on my camera system going, holy smoke, they're lighting up the whole house. Anyway, so that was I missed all the good fireworks, unfortunately, this year. That's just the way things worked out. But the brisket was good. Everybody was happy, so we had a good story there. My brother comes into town from California with his 14-year-old son, and they just wanted to eat. They came in basically to see family and eat. So Kiki's Friday, Sparky Saturday, King's X, and Lucy Sunday.
Wow, the good stuff, Steve. The good stuff.
I'm weighing a little more than I wanted to at this point. Not exactly thrilled about the fact, but what do you expect when that's all you eat for the weekend, right? There's just nothing you can do. I mean, part of the thing is that, listen, if you're eating El Paso's finest, you better be working out like a madman if you want to try to keep your weight down. It's just no other way around it.
You could just walk back from Sparky's or something like that, Steve. But other than that, I mean, how do you say no to any of those places right there? It's like the trifecta right there. You're getting the best of all worlds.
I couldn't believe it, but this was the first time I've ever been to Sparky's where, I came in at a time that I thought there was going to be a 45-minute to an hour wait, and basically got right in. It was shocking. Saturday, 11:15 in the morning. I thought for sure, or 11:30. I thought for sure, long wait, not bad. Not bad at all.
That's surprising.
So that was good.
Not knowing that, it's Sparky's. People take road trips on weekends like these, like holiday weekends. So surprising that wasn't a bigger crowd, but I'm glad that you guys got in and out.
Well, we didn't get in and out. We got Sparky's. So there was a little bit of a different situation. I'll get in and out maybe tomorrow.
Well, I'm saying you got in and out.
Oh,
of the
that.
place.
That in and out you're talking about. Getting in and out literally, not in and out burgers. I got you. Makes sense.
I see where your mind's at.
Well, I'll be, I'm going to say there's, this trip could have in and out potential in the next couple of days. And I got to figure, here's the other question, okay? If I'm going to be in a place where it's going to be 110 degrees the next couple of days, should I do anything that involves, working out a little bit outside just to try to burn some calories so that way, be a little bit easier? Or do you just say, screw it, it's vacation, go out, enjoy yourself, rock the dad bod, and who cares?
I'm gonna interject and just say, look, it's always good to work out the heart.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
true.
Just get out there, maybe get a hike in or something.
They got tennis courts where we're going to be. I was thinking maybe get up early at 9 o'clock in the morning, play a little tennis for a few hours before it gets too hot, and then you're done.
And then the rest of the day you feel like, oh, I earned this.
Yeah, you feel like you're gold. That's exactly. What do you think, Adrian?
You know what? I was going the completely other route, but he convinced me right there. Good stuff, Alberto. By the way, Alberto got to meet Tim Haggerty for the first time today, so I just had to drop that out there.
Wow, that's a big deal. Did you get a little, was it kind of like a little man crush seeing Hags, or what was it? Tell me.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. It was like that. It was crazy seeing him, and it was really neat to finally get to shake his hand and be like, oh, I'm Alberto. And he was like telling his son, this guy right here. And I was like, that's me.
Where'd you run into Hags?
He was at the UTEP basketball practice.
Was he really?
Yeah, he got an invite from Mark.
Oh, look at that.
And Mark was
cool.
Mark, shout out to Mark Bruner, sports information out at UTEP. He was like, hey, your worlds are colliding to me. And I was like, no. Alberto's worlds are colliding. Like, not me. I know Tim Haggerty. I know Alberto Reta. But that's cool that they met for the first time right there, Steve.
That sounds like a terrific meeting. I love that.
So he's on a roll right here. He just gave good advice, workout advice. It's excellent too, right, Steve? Because he's telling you get it out early in the morning, get it out of the day, and then play some tennis, maybe a hike, maybe a walk or something like that, and then earn the rest of the day. I think that's a great mindset.
I agree with that. I think that's a good idea. So, all right, I'll do that. And by the way, the days of just going shirtless outside for me, long gone. Now I'm rocking the long sleeve sun shirt just to make sure that my arms don't get destroyed, and that's basically what it is. The doctor told me a couple of years ago, he's like, when you get older, you're going to be one of those people that has like all those spots on their arms from the sun damage. I said, really? I said, that's good to know. Thank you. And as soon as he told me that, I'm like, all right, I'll start wearing long sleeves from now on. That'll be the end of that. No more of this. No more of this stuff.
That happens? That's awful.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Be careful when you're soaking up sun all those years and not even thinking too much about what could happen as you get older. Yeah, it happens.
I'm thinking about like our guy Lane Frank over here, who's looking a little toasty as of late because of all the tennis he's playing.
He's 16 years old. He's got plenty of time. He'll be all right. Although I don't see Lane as the kind of person that ever will use sunscreen in any capacity. I feel like he just likes bacon in the sun.
That's right. He likes the tan. He likes the tan that he's had this whole time.
Well, look, I'm happy everybody had a good weekend. That's what it's all about. We got a lot to cover on the show today. Hey, how about Joey Chestnut eating 56 hot dogs in 30 minutes and the Nathan's winner this year eating 58 in 10?
Yeah, man. I mean, come on. First off, smashed the over. We were talking about 40. Destroyed the over right there.
Gosh.
Love the crowd out at Fort Bliss over the weekend. It looked awesome. I was so jealous, Steve. I was like, man, I would have made the trip out there to go see this one. It looked like everybody who went out there had an amazing time, like just an absolute great time, which is awesome stuff. And then for Joey Chestnut himself, the photos are great. Him like hoisting the trophy. And you know who misses out? It's Nathan's for not having Joey Chestnut, who put on an absolute show here at Fort Bliss.
But Nathan's loss was El Paso and Fort Bliss's gain. As simple as that. They're the ones that made out like champs because of this whole thing. So
That's
good
true.
for them. I'm happy about that. Really happy. All right, let me get to the phone calls. We'll begin with Domingo. He's first up today on a Monday afternoon of Sports Talk. Domingo, what's going on, man? How are you?
Fine, Gabby. How are you? And how's everybody's 4th of July?
Everybody's 4th of July was good. How about yours, Domingo? What'd you do?
Chilled at home and then went to my uncle, blew some fireworks, and then also went to a friend to say hello. And, yeah, it was still a good 4th of July.
Sounds terrific, man. Happy you had fun. That's good.
That's good. Well, it's official. Now the U.S. Germany is going to join the U.S. by being the other host by not winning a continental title in their home soil. Spain just stunned Germany this weekend, 2-1. That was big.
Yeah, listen, Germany getting knocked out of the Euros is a big deal. That really is. In fact, I mean, I don't know. What do you do now? Do you just watch to enjoy? I mean, you get Spain and France battling tomorrow. I guess that's going to be fun just because it's two powers going head-to-head.
Yep. Oh, my God. It would have been nice if the U.S. would have made it to the final of the Copa America and Germany make it to the final in Europe. Where not, they could have joined Qatar and Cote d'Ivoire by winning the continental championships. But no. But we already know that Qatar and Cote d'Ivoire, they won the Asian and African championships. It's a sign maybe Europe and CONMEBOL needs to do better for winning as host.
Who's your pick, Spain or France? Who do you like in this match?
Spain.
All right. Wow. Well, yeah, because France is big-time underdogs on this one. I think they're like plus 205. Looking at the odds right now, Alberto.
Yeah, I mean, Spain's heavily favored. I just feel like it's because France hasn't done much in the games leading up to this. They tied 0s against Portugal.
Yeah, they haven't exactly gotten the offense rolling the way they should.
Yeah, and Mbappe's kind of not playing 100%.
Right.
You got fractured face. You're not going to go all out. You got a season ahead of you in Real Madrid, which has been your goal since you were a child. So I hope it's not a boring game like that France-Portugal or like that Uruguay-Brazil. That Uruguay-Brazil game was expected to be a great one, and it wasn't. It was a draw to 0s and straight to penalties. So that was boring. So I'm excited for that France-Spain. Should be good.
Is a fractured face one of those injuries that you're just like, oh, this sounds just god-awful?
Well, if you see how it happened, if you watch the play, they had a pretty good angle on how it happened. He pretty much goes up for a headbutt, misses, and headbutts his nose, hits directly on someone's shoulder.
Oof.
Yeah, and you can see it just kind of collapse on the impact, so that had to be painful, and he's just bleeding everywhere. So
That's awful.
Yeah, it is. So and then his mask now, it creates like a bridge over his nose. It connects both his cheekbones so that if a ball were to hit him on the face, the impact would go to his cheekbones and not directly on the bridge of his nose, creating further damage. So, yeah, I just, he's not at 100%. Neither is this France team. They're not playing as good as they should.
Domingo, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the phone call as we keep things moving right now, 1:15. Let's say hello to Eddie in Fort Bliss. Eddie, what's going on, man? How was your 4th?
It was good. I was kind of like you. We had a lot of those big ones, like as a couple of my buddies were saying, artillery shells.
Yeah, that's what it sounded
They
like.
were rattling the windows.
I mean, I was in a dead sleep, and all of a sudden I got woken up by one of those things, and I didn't know what the hell happened. I was like going around going, what is going on? I was complete. Then I realized, yes, I missed out on all the big ones outside the area, so now I get to hear the ones happening right outside the house. But the funny part is, the rest of my family was asleep. They slept through the whole thing. I guess they were awake for the bigger shows, and then they finally passed out later in the night. So it's all right. It worked out. But listen, what else is going on?
So when we were speaking on Wednesday, we only had the starters. Now we have the full roster going on. Any thoughts?
Yeah, there were some players that got shafted. I mean, and players that probably didn't deserve it. I'm very surprised Pete Alonso made it. Again, Alonso is hitting like 200. So that's not exactly an all-star to me. Well, he's hitting 240, but he has 18 home runs, 48 RBIs. I mean, the power is there, but I don't know.
I guess that's the new standard.
Yeah, that kind of surprised me a little bit. I'm sure for you, you're looking at some of the guys that got snubbed, and I'm willing to bet that Jordan Westberg is somebody you want to bring up because he's hitting 281. He's got 14 home runs, 49 RBIs for the Orioles. He's playing a mean third base and finds himself right now on the outside looking in.
I'll tell you the two things about him that really surprised me. If you haven't had a chance to watch him yet, everything he hits hard, which is, if you look at it, I think, and I know you have Fangraphs on, I know you have RotoWire on, I know you love those new metrics. I think he's either 4th or 5th when it comes to exit velocity or hard hit contacts, like the barrel rates, all that good jazz. But everything he hits is hard. But the one thing that's funny about him is he doesn't get enough love because he splits time between second and third.
Yeah, it's true.
He's played, I want to say like 60% of his games at third and 40% at second, depending on what lineup they throw out.
No, but I think there's something to be said for being valuable like that and playing multiple spots. I really do.
It really kind of got overlooked, but I think that one was self-correct was Grayson Rodriguez. Texas boy, he's got 11 wins, tied for the lead in the majors. He's got a 3.2 or 3.3 ERA, over 100 strikeouts. I don't know how they left him off.
I know. And
that's just me.
There's a few other guys. David Fry probably deserved it from Cleveland. He didn't get in the American League. I
think Simeon.
Simeon is not. Marcus Simeon he's been awful. This has been the worst season he's had with his offensive numbers in a long time, and I feel like he just absolutely did not deserve to get in.
No, and he got voted in by the players, which is one of those things that really, I guess, they were voting him more for what he did in the playoffs last year than what he's done this year.
That's nice. Nice to see they give him a postseason achievement award and vote him into the All-Star game. That's terrific. Anyway, Eddie, I got to run, pal. Appreciate the call.
Yes, sir.
19 past. The Sports Talk gets started. Let's go to Charlie 1. He'll have our first of 6 traffic updates this afternoon. Charlie, how we doing? Of the game and not till later. I got to tell you what, Friday night, I felt like I was in San Diego. It honestly felt like Southern California. You had the breeze coming in. It was cool at first pitch. Weather was great the rest of the night. I mean, you could not have had better conditions if you tried. So, really enjoyed myself at the Chihuahuas Friday night. And, again, although they didn't win, it still was a gorgeous night in El Paso. Just beautiful.
Yeah, Bogarts weekend, which is kind of cool, right, Steve?
That's right.
Having an opportunity. Okay, let's just throw this out there because Colin Deaver, shout out to him, he posted a video, I think this was on IG, posted a video of some older dudes, man, and they're boxing out the kids for the signatures. Can we put a PSA out there, Steve, about this kind of stuff? I hate this stuff. I hate this. This is actually like top 3 pet peeves in sports for me.
Let me say this, okay? And I mean this very sincerely. I got a ton of autographs as a kid. A ton of autographs as a kid. Kept them all. So my house is like a shrine from all the stuff I got, right? Nowadays, my son is following in my footsteps. I never have to ask for an autograph. He knows the drill. He does it. And to be honest with you, if there are adults trying to get autographs instead of kids, it's so wrong. It's like, seriously, what are you going to do with it? You're going to put it on eBay and you're going to sell it? I mean, give me a break. The whole idea of getting signatures is a kid's thing. If you're an adult and you want an autograph, you know what you do? Go to MLB.com or Fanatics, go spend the money, and get it done that way. And go the official way with the seal, the hologram, and all that. Leave the ballpark autographs for the kids. For crying out loud, that drives me nuts. But I'm not surprised. I see it all the time. I got to tell you something, okay? There is a couple, I don't know their names. They're at every game. Baseball, basketball, UTEP. I see them everywhere. And here's the crazy thing. I've seen them everywhere for at least the last 35 years. Religiously. And they come in with autograph, like, I think it's a pen, like a pad. And I don't even know what it is. But I'm watching this going, my God, like, why? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do? Like, I love autographs. I grew up on it. You know why I grew up on it? Because my dad had them. And he passed it along to me. And I'm passing it along to my son, right? And it's fun. But on the flip side, he gets them. Not me. I'm not the one asking for the autographs. I already told him, if you don't want it, we're going home. You're not getting it. I'm not staying for that. I'm not going to be putting a ball in front of somebody asking them to sign something. Those days have come and gone. But if he wants it, because he has that same bug like me, I don't want to see that some random guy is getting an autograph instead of him or some other kid because they're trying to nudge their way in line to go out. That's terrible.
Yeah, it's actually disgusting. So the worst ones are when they go to the clubhouse and they're wearing somebody else's jersey or somebody else's hat. That's number one. Like the person who's like taking up all the room, they're the adult. They're wearing like a Boston Red Sox hat for Bogarts or whatever, and they're trying to get the autographs. Like, that makes me so upset because I'm like, dude, we know this is going on eBay. We know this is all just being sold for profit or that kind of stuff. I'm trying to think of cases where this is acceptable. And Steve, all the cases you just brought up were kids. Kids are they get the 100% pass for all the autographs. In fact, that's the only people who should be doing this kind of stuff.
If you're an adult and you want an autograph, go to an autograph show and pay for it. That's the whole idea. That's what it's all about. Don't go out and try to nudge your way or elbow your way or position your way past kids. The games are for them. They're the ones that should have fun. They really are.
At the minor league level with the El Paso Chihuahuas,
the
Southwest
hell is
University
wrong
Park.
With people?
I know, man. And it's, I just saw this video. This was just kind of like, it brought it to my attention. But it happens all the time. It's not just this game or this weekend or Xander Bogaerts. It's everybody. It's all the weekends that you see or every Chihuahuas games you go out there. It's some dude or somebody out there who's older who's just trying to get some signatures.
If you're an adult and you do this, and you would love to call into the show and explain to me why it's okay for you during games to go and get a signature over a kid, I'd love to hear it. I really would. I'd love to hear it. 505-6009. And like I said, nobody was bigger getting autographs when they were little than I was. I mean, that's all I did. We went to spring training from probably 79 or 80 all the way till we go now. We take our son now. And I mean, but my days of getting signatures are over. They're done. You know what I do now as a dad? I take pictures of my son getting autographs, and if he wants a photo with a ball player, I'm the guy taking the photo. That's my job as a parent. Now, if you don't have kids and you want autographs, go pay for them. I mean, you're an adult. Go buy them. They're for sale everywhere. You can find them online. You can find them at card shows. You can even go meet individuals that come in to sign autographs. So it's not like you can't have them. Sure you can. Let the kids enjoy what part of the perks of being a kid is at sporting events. Go and get cigs.
You know, the thing that's laughable about all this is the guy who goes, who waits, and gets mad when they don't sign something. That's the worst person out there right there for the signature argument and the autograph argument. Because you're right, it's all for the kids. Let the kids go out there. Let them have the first opportunity to do this kind of stuff. If you know the player personally, that's a whole separate. That's the only way I could find myself justifying something like this for an autograph memorabilia. But again, it's not at the game. You're not bothering people, and you're not boxing out kids, more importantly.
And then some adults will show up with a page of 9 cards, and they want them all signed at that one moment. It's like
ridiculous.
It's like you're bringing the entire collection with you, and you want that athlete who has a limited amount of time and all these other kids waiting to sign every single card that's yours.
Yeah, I mean, I would love the athlete to just sign all of them and say, wait, how much am I going to get from this? Like, what's my cutoff of this once you sell all these?
Can somebody please call into the show and explain this to me? Because you're right. What Colin did is 100%. I could not be more behind him with everything that he did. 505-6009. That is our telephone number. 505-6009. As we continue here on Sports Talk. Oh, my God. That's unbelievable. That really is. All right. We'll come back with more in a moment. Michael Plendo standing by, has our first bottom of the hour Sports Center update. Bobby's at work. He can't get on the show. But he mentioned one particular incident. He said he's a big Astros fan for 45 years. And he was at a game, and his daughter was getting a Hunter Pence autograph. And while she was getting the Hunter Pence autograph, there was Jose Cruz, who was one of his childhood heroes, wasn't signing autographs, was just kind of hanging out. And he asked Cruz if he would sign his hat. And he did. I'm fine with that. I mean, look, again, if you find that one of your childhood heroes is there and he's not like bogged down with autograph requests and you want to introduce yourself and get a signature, there's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that at all.
What about, and this just came to mind, so it's pretty much at the game when the kids are trying to get interaction with the players, that's for the kids, and I understand that, and we all understand that. But what about, because this is kind of on the same page, that guy that goes around catching home runs and people get mad at him? And it's the same thing. What if you catch a home run next to a little kid? Do you keep it or do you give it to the little kid?
Okay, that's a great one. That is a great one. Some will say that you catch a ball at a game, home run, foul ball, that is like a lifetime moment. But others will say, you know what? There's a little kid there who also wanted that ball. You caught it. You'll remember it. Give the feeling of giving a young either boy or girl a ball at a game is worth any kind of memento that you would keep from that ball for the rest of your life. Let's put it that way.
I'm with you, but also like in the premise of catching a ball, foul or home run, there is a struggle with everyone around you.
There is.
So it's like, what did you do to get that ball if the kid's right next to you? So it's like, because I've seen it where like someone will catch a ball and there's a struggle and they don't realize like, oh, there's a child next to me.
Yeah.
They just realize ball's in the air and I want it. And then everyone's booing them because they got it. So it's like, I don't know.
Do you know I've never caught a baseball at a game, ever. But one day I was at spring training. I was in a concession line outside the ballpark, getting a hot dog, and a ball bounced right at me. It almost hit me in the chest. So I picked it up and I kept it. And it turned out it was hit by Ichiro during the game. And I'm like, what a weird... Think about that. Never caught a ball, but I had one bounce at me, and it turns out it was a foul ball hit by Ichiro during a spring training game.
Gator Richard would have wanted that autograph.
Yeah, he would have. He would have. You know that. We would want the ball.
Yeah,
it's an Ichiro ball.
That's actually, what are the odds, man? What a coincidence right there.
It was weird. So I'm okay. Listen, I get what you're saying, but nowadays baseballs are so common. They're so easy to get. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, look at how many baseballs are given away during Chihuahuas games. And by the way, they're all the major league balls. And, in the old days, when they first started the Chihuahuas, they used to have their own PCL ball. It's the Pacific Coast League, signed by Branch Rickey Jr., or Branch Rickey III, I forget. And that was it. And now it's the Rob Manfred Major League Baseballs like you'll get in a Major League game. There's no difference between the balls you'll get here and the balls you get in a big league game.
Yeah.
And umpires give them away like crazy after a homestand.
This was tougher for me to think about. Like, I could see both sides on the, catching a fly ball, catching a foul ball, catching something that's a home run, even, especially if you're at a Major League Baseball game. So I could see both sides. The autograph story right there from Bobby, just to clean it up real quick. If it's Jose Cruz, who's a coach to the side, your childhood hero, I have no problem with that whatsoever. I feel like that's, acceptable, and I'm sure Jose actually probably liked that. As a coach, probably doesn't get a lot of people who remember him and just kind of point him out like that kind of stuff, when he's in the dugout. So I think that's pretty cool.
This comes from Pinky. What gets me is late in the game, right before it's over, those two adults are standing already next to the dugout, already asking for autographs. Frustrating for those of us that have seats in that area.
Wait, so it's one couple continuously asking for autographs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this needs to be stopped. This needs to be stopped. Enrico Ortiz got in on X. He says, #hot take. If a kid at a baseball game already has more than 2 balls, I'm not give of a ball to that kid. Nowadays, kids expect you to give them balls. They do. I want to experience catching a ball, too. Adults can have fun, too.
Enrique's right, especially if you listen, but how many times have I seen a kid get ready to start crying when they either don't get the ball or when they get the ball, they're so excited they start crying, like crying out of joy. It's cool. But he's right. If you've got a ball and then there's a kid next to you with 2 balls, it won't mean anything to them. You don't want that.
Yeah, I'm with that. I think also, okay, here's the thing, though. Whether it's a minor league baseball game or a major league baseball game, everything is televised. So you have to be ready going into these games. If you're going to catch something, you have to have something you do. So either have your beer ready. So as soon as you catch something, you chug the beer and you're on the Jumbotron. Everybody's clapping and laughing or something like that. B, you're noticing your surroundings. You see a child, you see a person over there. Maybe, if you're single, you see a girl that you're going to hand this over to.
Sure.
Or a man out there that you want to hand this to. So those are your 2 options right there. Don't be the guy who reaches over. Don't be the guy who's going to go, lay out for the ball and get in people's way.
I've seen a lot of guys catch balls and give them to their wife or girlfriend as a trophy. I've seen that a lot. It's a great date move. It really is. That's a winner of a move. So I'm with you. How does the NFL work if you catch a football during a game?
Oh gosh, is that even a thing?
Do you have to throw it back, or do they let you keep it?
Well, so they've got the microchips in there. So I don't think they would let you take that out of the stadium, right?
Well, in the old days, when you caught, let's say there was an extra point, and the football went over the net, and somebody in the stands caught it, they got to keep that ball. Wow. Or better yet, like when Aaron Jones hands Alvin a football, he's not giving that ball back.
True.
That's his.
That's very true. Yeah, and all the players who hand the ball off to family members or fans, whatever it is. Yeah, that's a really good point. What about like college football, like UTEP, right? Like where you see it where there's no netting, and it's just the wild, wild west when you're talking about footballs going back there after a field goal or extra point.
The best is when the fans take a football and it's like a beach ball and start throwing it all over the stadium because they don't want to send it back in so quickly.
Yeah, and then you kind of wonder, why is everybody cheering in the end zone? Oh, because everybody's still throwing this away from the security guard.
Michael, what's your take on the autograph situation with adults versus kids at games?
There have been many times where I've been at Chihuahua games, and even when I went to a Pirates game a couple years ago, I've seen adults jump in front of kids and grab the baseball right in front of them. And let's just say the kids' reactions to that are not reactions you want to see. And I'm against it. I mean, let the kids have fun. This is what they live for, that they want to get the autographs. They want to get a baseball. That's why they come with their gloves. So, I mean, let them have fun, And it's like you said, I mean, they can, if you want an autograph so badly, you can buy one on Fanatics, MLB.com, or whatever sport you want that autograph from.
That's right. Domingo says, I remember getting a ball at the Chihuahuas game, but some kids wanted it, so I gave it to them. Pinky, I got a birthday ball Wednesday, and I gave it to a small child in the area. The look on their face was priceless. I mean, that's what it's all about. especially the season seed holders. They get so many baseballs just during the course of the season at some point in time. So, a lot of them just get balls, and they like to give them away. They enjoy that. So, yeah, you want to chime in, a lot of ways to do it. 600 ESPN El Paso on Twitter and X, 505-6009 on the phone lines, or on our free app, which you can download and chat with us again in real time. We're back with more as Sports Talk continues. Stay with us. 600 ESPN El Paso.
Adrian Broadus.
All right, hour 2 of 3 is underway. Welcome back, everybody. So we keep things moving here. 600 ESPN El Paso, our telephone number if you're just joining us. Well, we talked about the July 4th weekend. Talked about fireworks. We talked about food. We've touched on some soccer. We also talked a little bit about the Chihuahuas. And then talked about autograph collecting. And don't get me wrong, I want to make sure people understand exactly what I said last hour. This is not saying that adults should not be able to collect autographs. Absolutely they should. There's nothing wrong with, hey, I know a lot of friends that collect everything. Forget autographs. They collect it all. Bottles of alcohol that are cool. They collect stamps, coins, any kind of, some collect rocks. Who knows? Whatever you want to collect, it's fine. And if it's autographs, memorabilia, knock yourself out. I'm in that club. I understand. All we're saying is that if you're at a game and there's a player signing an autograph, whether he's a famous big leaguer that's rehabbing or a minor league player or anybody for that matter, and there are kids waiting there to try to get the autographs, don't step in front of them trying to get your stuff signed. And please, don't bring multiple items. That's also really the thing that could drive you crazy is when, you got multiple stuff. Now, here's the other deal. I've got friends that do go and get autographs at games. Adults. I know they do. They've told me they do. And again, I'm fine with that as long as, once again, when it comes to the signatures, let the kids get it first. That's all. Kids are there. They're trying to, get one of those experiences that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. Some of them only go to one game a year. And if they go and they want to try to get down there early and get an autograph, let them have some fun. That's
when you were bringing that up, Steve, the first thing that came to my mind was if you get there and you're an adult and you want the autograph, get there early. Do what you need to do. Like, plan it out. Don't be there barging through, trying to find your way into the line. Don't be the person like Pinky was just referencing right now who's going to go up after every inning and in between every inning to try to get that signature right there, blocking people's views who's paid money to sit in those seats and stuff like that. So I feel like there should be almost rules to this. Like, we need almost like commandments for something like this, Steve.
Isn't it crazy that we're talking about basically, in like autograph etiquette when it comes to games and what to do and what not to do?
After watching that video, I think it's necessary. Whether we talk about this to fans, listeners, or even venues and stadium personnel members like security.
Did you ever see that Coca-Cola commercial from the 70s when a kid offered Mean Joe Green a sip of Coke after he was in the locker room, and then Green took off his jersey and gave it to the kid?
Yeah, iconic.
Yeah. Did Mean Joe Green give it to some 40-year-old adult?
No, that's funny. That's hilarious. Imagine.
No. He gave it to a little kid. It's the whole idea.
Endearing.
It
Makes
was
you feel
endearing.
happy.
That's exactly right. That's really the whole point. Anyway, that was the whole point of this discussion. And I feel like some people when Eddie was saying, we're not trying to tell people that you shouldn't collect autographs. If you want to, that's fine. But all we're saying is, and if you're at a game and somebody's signing an autograph and there's no kids there and you want to get a go for it. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that. Just don't do it at the expense of kids. That's it. Or when you purposely try to block a kid out of the way so they can't get it. That's the idea, too. That's really what we're talking about. That was the video Colin Deaver put on Instagram that started this whole discussion.
And I truly believe that person right there, Steve, that you're just talking about, I truly believe he doesn't like autographs. I think he likes money. I think he likes to sell these things. Like what Eddie is describing right there, somebody who likes autographs is a sports fan, is somebody who cares about the players, is somebody who cares about their memorabilia and is not just rushing to social media, Facebook Marketplace, eBay or Amazon to go off and sell these things. So, yeah, if you're somebody out there who's passionate about collecting, that's totally different than being out there trying to box out kids like you're a forward playing some pickup basketball while you're just trying to get a simple autograph.
True enough. Now, you guys were at UTEP basketball practice a couple of hours ago. Had the opportunity to talk to Joe Golding on a variety of subjects and other players. Let's play some clips from today. Adrian put this up on social media as well. Here's, first off, Joe Golding talking about newcomer day at practice.
Yeah, obviously the difficult thing is when you have 10 guys back, right, and 4 new guys, you have a concern that those 10 new guys are already built relationships, and so there's a clique being formed, kind of the 4 outsiders, but it hasn't been that way at all. Those 4 guys have been integrated very quickly, and I like the direction it's going.
Well, it helps when Devin is obviously from Mount Zion Prep, and some of the other guys have that connection, right?
Yeah, it's a great player, right? Mount Zion now with Otis, Elijah, and now Dev, so obviously we're very thankful for that pipeline, and Dev's been really good for Elijah. They're obviously living together off the floor. Devin's a very responsible, very disciplined athlete. That's how he's gotten this far with him, and Elijah is learning that, and so Devin's been really good for Elijah.
2 weeks in, week 3, what's it looking like right now?
We'll find out. We're going to do some 5-on-5 this week. We haven't done any 5-on-5 up to this point, so I'm sure it'll be a little ugly at times, but obviously we got to get to work. We're going to the Bahamas in 3.5 weeks to play a game, so we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but at the same time, man, we got to start getting some stuff in.
All right, are they going to get a chance to keep practicing for the next 3 weeks? Is that how it's going to work?
To my understanding, yes. I believe there's 1 week. I believe it's right before, I think it's that last week of July, where it's an off period for them. So maybe, the last opportunity for these kids to go back home, take a little breather, and then get right back into the mix. I'm not sure how that conflicts with the Bahamas trip. So that's the one question that I would have. I know that for sure they're back at it next week.
Do we know when the Bahamas trip is? Do we know when that's going to be? Is it the end of July or early August?
I believe they leave a little bit before, Steve. So I think it's like a 10-day trip altogether. I don't know exactly when they play. And then Alberto was asking me off air. He's like, you think these games are going to be like closed doors, behind closed doors and that kind of stuff? Forgive me if I'm wrong. The New Mexico State game, was it streamed, Steve?
It was.
Yeah,
streamed.
So maybe it's also like not in front of the public, but at least streamed.
I hope so.
Me too. I hope so.
Ahmad Bynum was somebody you had a chance to run into, and again, a lot being said from somebody who played at Simeon High and from Chicago. Here's Adrian having a chance to talk to Bynum earlier today.
Ahmad, can you just talk about what's it like joining this minor team?
It's been great so far. Coach Golden has been a great coach. I love my teammates here. You feel me? I'm just adapting into the environment and everything. It's been great so far.
How has it come along? What's been kind of the hardest thing?
Really just adapting to the community, getting the community, knowing a lot about El Paso, and also just the workouts, getting in shape, you feel me, getting back on track, you feel me, with the team and everything.
You're a part of the Chicago pipeline, a long history, a long tradition of UTEP basketball players who've come from Chicago. What does it mean to come from that city specifically and the history that it brings here to UTEP?
It means a lot. I know there's a lot of history from Chicago that's been in El Paso. That's why I feel like it was the perfect fit for me. So I just feel like the history been from here, from Chicago, it's always been love. So I feel like it's just the best opportunity for me.
For you personally, you're somebody who could get hot from beyond the arc and really shoot from the perimeter. Is that where you pride yourself offensively? Is shot making and hitting some of those big 3-pointers?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely my shot making and my scoring ability. Also, I feel like my passing, the way I see the floor is underrated. I feel like a lot of people don't see the other skills I have with the game other than scoring.
So what was your takeaway from Bynum just getting a chance to talk to him today?
Well, so he comes from basketball royalty, really. Simeon High School is where he comes from, out in Chicago. That's one of the best Chicago high school basketball programs you're going to find. Former minor Evan Gilliard played there. You talk about other NBA players who played there, like Jabari Smith. Just an outstanding program right there. And then not to mention, he played for a great AAU team in Mac Irvin Fire. I like speaking of fire, I like the fire that Bynum brings, man. He's not Tay Hardy, but he kind of has that build like Tay Hardy. And if he could shoot from beyond the arc like Tay used to do, that's an immediate plus for UTEP.
Next, we're about to hear from Devin Barnes. Is it true that he now lists El Paso as his hometown?
That's true, yes. Steve, I got to ask what the story is as far as how many exact years he's been here, but yes, he has El Paso in his bio. I remember actually the practice before we weren't able to talk to him, but I remember him coming up to some of the UTEP staff saying, hey, can you list me as from El Paso as my hometown?
Wow. All right. Well, here's how that conversation went, folks. Devin Barnes with Adrian Broadus.
Devin, what's it been like just adjusting to this new team right here at UTEP?
It's been great. The vibes are amazing here. It's a totally different situation than Tarleton State. Last year I was in a little frenzy with my head. I was just in my head a lot, but I think everybody's picked me up here. Coaches had great vibes, so it was amazing.
What's been kind of the hardest part about kind of blending with everybody here?
I wouldn't say it's really anything hard. That's the great thing about being here. Like, they accepted me the first day I walked in here. As soon as I got here, they was like, come play with us. So it's not like I had to find my way in here. They're trying to get me in there by themselves. So it's no hard things, to be honest.
Well, how about the familiarity, the Mount Zion prep familiarity with you, Otis Frazier, Elijah Jones? That must be awesome right there.
Yeah, it's amazing. Me and Elijah, we didn't know our journeys would come to this path, but, God has different things for us. He had paths for us that led us here, so it's amazing. Me, Otis, and him, we always have those arguments. Our team would be his team, so it's great. But that Mount Zion connection it's amazing.
So for Elijah, he was an all-freshman recipient last year. For Otis, he was an honorable mention, all-conference USA. What have you seen from their games and how they've improved?
It's crazy. Elijah's always been that guy. Everywhere we've been at, he's just been that guy. But to see him do it on this type of level, keep it up is amazing. Same thing with Otis. I really didn't watch him play in high school, but I see him now. He's a great player. He's athletic. They both can go, their ways. So it's good.
You can really hit a lot of shots from the perimeter as well. What do you feel comfortable when you kind of just get on a tear? I've seen multiple games where you've hit 4 or 5 3-pointers plus.
Yeah, it's I get comfortable because the work I put in. I put in work every day. If it's making 250 shots, 500 shots, doesn't matter. I put in work, and I trust God. So every time I go out there, I know God has my back. I have faith in Him, so I'll be good no matter where I go at. Because I'll make every three as long as I got my trust in God and trust my work.
Message for the fans.
We out here working this summer. It's been amazing. Week 3. It's gonna be a great season this year. We got a great group of guys. Everybody's hungry. We all want the same goals, so it's going to be good this year.
All right, that's Devin Barnes. We're going to hear KJ Thomas here in a little bit as we continue on Sports Talk. You tell me. Again, being around this, watching practice, when you see the way the guards are playing, just observing practice early on, does it remind you at all of the last couple of seasons, or is it totally different?
Totally different in the sense that I feel like this team now has the confidence and the urgency to win now. This is the season right here. They feel the window of opportunity. Who knows what's going to happen in the future, right? But right now, this team has David Terrell Jr., Otis Frazier III, Corey Camper Jr. coming back, Kevin Kalu back in the mix, and I'm missing some others, but you also add all the newcomers into the mix, like Devin Barnes, who's a difference maker, and Ahmad Bynum, who hopes to be somebody who comes along to this system nicely. And you just mentioned KJ Thomas. Look, David Terrell Jr. was Freshman of the Year last year in Conference USA. What if KJ Thomas has a great season as well for the Miners, coming off the bench and really helping this team out? So this team has confidence. They have a mission. They have an objective. They have urgency.
Hopefully Trey Horton takes the next step this year. You can see the same
Great
thing for
name,
Derek
yeah.
Hamilton, too. A lot of guys that you hope coming back from last year's team can make a big jump, too.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trey Horton, Elijah Jones, and Derek Hamilton. Yeah. So I think, and even Babacar and Bengi, maybe he gets a chance to be on the court at some points.
All right, 17 past. We'll come back with more, but first let's go to Charlie 1 and get this traffic update. Get them used to disappointment.
Good stuff.
Oh, my God.
Man, the shots are there.
Taking shots, man. Taking shots. Unbelievable. All right. Pinky, by the way, is going to be watching Willie Mays' memorial at Oracle Park. So he's heading off the app with us for today. Well, enjoy, Pinky. Thanks for being with us throughout the course of the show, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
We'll catch you on the app or the podcast.
Yeah, that's right. That is right. That's where we live, by the way. It's our home away from home. 600 ESPN El Paso on demand. I love it there. Get a chance to relive all the moments on this show.
I'm appreciative of those people who don't have a chance to listen to us live, but always make sure to listen to us on demand. So I get those messages. We see those app chats. We see the posts or whatever that say, hey, you guys didn't post the episode. What happened? And so we appreciate those. People are always appreciative of listening to us on demand, wherever you listen to podcasts.
100%. So we're back to UTEP basketball for a second. Now it brings us to KJ Thomas. He is the true freshman guard. Adrian mentioned him a little while ago. He also talked to the media before the practice today. He's a 3-star prospect from Canyon Randall. 4th overall point guard in the state of Texas from 247 Sports. And UTEP was on him early. They got him. Here's Adrian and Brett Bloomquist earlier talking to KJ Thomas.
KJ, you're one of the newcomers on this squad. You're a true freshman here on this group. What's it been like so far?
I mean, it's been awesome. We're around a bunch of great guys, a bunch of great coaches, and I love it here.
What's been the biggest adjustment for you?
I would say, kind of just being away from home, and that's a big transition, being on your own, and then I would say like the speed of the game and the physicality has been a little different, but I'm adjusting well.
What do you miss most from home? What do you like best about El Paso?
I would say what I miss most is my family. I mean, that's a big thing, yes, sir. And I like most about El Paso. Like it feels like family down here. All my teammates are a bunch of great guys. We got a bunch of great coaches, so I love it.
You're one of the players like David who've come from the high school basketball ranks to UTEP. What do you hope to bring? I mean, look, he was All-Conference USA Freshman of the Year last year, and this coaching staff has high hopes for you this year as well.
Yeah, so I definitely want to come in here and perform, do the best I can. I mean, David's a great player. I've been in the gym with David a ton since I've been down here, and he's taught me a lot of things, but it's God's plan. It's God's plan, and that's what David's really been stressing to me, and it's all going to work out the way it's supposed to.
What attracted you first to UTEP? You've been one of the longest commits for a while. You've been really committed to this program for a while.
I would say, like I said, it's just a family environment. I came down here on my visit. It felt like it was home, and like I said, I love everybody on the team. I love all the coaches, and that was a big reason why I picked here.
What do the fans need to expect from you this year?
I would say you're going to get a hard player, you're going to get a person that can score, can pass, can do it all, and we're going to win a lot of games.
I'm pretty confident, KJ Thomas. And by the way, good job, Alberto, making a cameo appearance during that press conference. I like that. Hang on a second. There you go.
Good question.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a very good question. You did a good job. I like that. By the way, they do have I don't want to say a crowded backcourt, but they got they have a lot of players right now, a lot of competition for minutes at that backcourt.
Yeah, which makes me really interested in the number 4 spot, right? Because it tells me either one of two things. It tells me that there's going to be more than just Otis Frazier playing that 4 spot, and you're going to have multiple guys in the backcourt. Maybe it's like a Bynum who has a little bit of physicality to him, or whomever. You know, it just tells me that spot could have more of a guard at that role. Or that Otis Frazier III is never going to see the bench, that he's going to play 40 minutes plus every single game. He's going to guard the team's best player, and he's going to serve as kind of like that guy who plays every single minute for the Miners, similar to what Tay Hardy did last year, similar to what Sule Boom did in year 1 for Joe Golding. So that tells me a little bit more about that 4 spot.
There could be – now here's the other question, okay? Because when you look at this roster and you're just trying to project their rotation for this season, right? And you go right into the list. Baylor Heb, he's going to be in that rotation in some way, shape, or form. You just know he is. He's a senior. He's going to be there, okay? And by the way, there is no bigger Baylor Heb fan than Kevin Kalu, who told me you have no idea what Baylor Heb can do. And this year, he's going to surprise a lot of people. So Kevin Kalu is he's on the Baylor Heb train and telling us, just wait. So he's been saying, just wait. So let's assume Baylor Heb is in the rotation. That's 1. Corey Camper Jr. would be 2. David Terrell Jr. would be 3. Trey Horton III, potentially 4. He played last year. He could see more minutes this year. Otis Frazier III, it's obvious, that's 5. I'm going to skip Babacar for the moment. I'm going to go Derek Hamilton, 6. Elijah Jones, 7, Kalu, 8, Devin Barnes, 9, Ahmad Bynum, 10, and then KJ Thomas, 11. We could have legitimately 11 guys in that rotation to start the season.
So the planning side of me is thinking, okay, do you redshirt somebody? But then the other side of me says no, because you have injuries, you have lulls, you have low points, you have valleys in the season where you just need to find offense, or you just need to find an injection on your team. Maybe that means that Baylor Heb takes some of those minutes that KJ Thomas would have had, or maybe it means that Ahmad Bynum steals a little, or has to fight for minutes against Trey Horton to see who'll get on the court. But that tells me UTEP's got depth. I don't know who's necessarily going to be the standout guy, or who's going to be the guy who's going to have the ball in their hands, late in the game if UTEP has game on the line and needs a bucket. But man, you list out those 11 guys who could play in a rotation. Those are 11 solid players right there.
Meanwhile, they've got 5 seniors and 3 juniors. If you count Jordan Hernandez as one of the 3, it's a veteran group. That means you have 8 players on your roster that are juniors and seniors. That is again a veteran group of guys right now.
And the nucleus of last year's team made up of Zid Powell, Tay Hardy, Calvin Solomon. You could argue that team was veteran laden as well. I just feel like the difference is when they had so many low points last year, it was easy to write UTEP off. This time around, they've done it. They've gone all the way to the CUSA championship game, and now they're back with urgency. And now they're back with, veteran experience. And all of them return. 9 scholarship guys back in the mix. So it tells you that they have unfinished business. They're all wearing the 1033 T-shirts, which, by the way, let's make it clear, it's the Western Kentucky game. It's not the Liberty game, not the semifinal game against Sam Houston State. That game is, or that 1033 is to represent a tie score between them and Western Kentucky in the Conference USA Championship game.
And KJ Thomas, by the way, is their only true freshman. That's it. He's the only true freshman on this roster right now.
This is the window right here. Window of opportunity is now for UTEP basketball, and I want to see what they do. I feel like it's not confident. It's not like they're being cocky or anything like that. It's like confidence backed up by the work that they're putting in right here.
All right, we are at the midway point of the program. 31 past the hour as Sports Talk continues. 505-6009, our telephone number. It's so funny because I know Miner fans are excited about football season. Now we're throwing basketball at you. And they're like, wait, slow it down, guys. Wait, it's not October, November yet. It's July. We are ready for football first, and Scotty Walden, then we could talk about basketball. It's the fun part about the summer right now. We get a little bit of everything if you're UTEP. They're sprinkling it all in there right now.
Yeah, I was diving in. I don't know how you've dove in or where you're at right now with football, Steve, but this is an interesting season for so many different reasons. I was really jumping in this past weekend, reading all the previews and stuff like that, writing my own. So, yeah.
Well, nice. By the way, we're going to talk about your preview because it's up right now on the website. We'll do that right after Sports Center with Michael Plundo here, 600 ESPN El Paso. Danny Hurley, or I should say Dan Hurley, he's no longer Danny, but Dan Hurley signed a 6-year, $50 million contract to stay at UConn. That means he is going to be making, about, let's see, a little over $8 a year is the best way to put that. A little over $8 million a year. So less than the Lakers were offering him, but still, be one of the highest paid coaches in all of college basketball. I really don't think Hurley ever used the Laker job to try to leverage UConn into getting him a better contract. I think that he truly was comfortable there, but UConn decided, well, look, if the biggest team in professional basketball made an full court press to try to bring you on board, we need to at least give you the kind of compensation to where you're not feeling like you're going to leave.
Could it be both things, though? Could he have used this as a leverage play and knowing in the back of his head all of this whole time that he was going to stay at UConn? Like, hey, Rich Paul, or hey, Sham Charania, who is linked with, Clutch Sports Agency, maybe I'm interested in taking the Lakers job. The bid or the price goes up a little bit. UConn says, well, you know what? We got to keep our 2-time national champion coach here. And behind closed doors, Dan Hurley, the Lakers, Sham Charania, they're all laughing, saying, yeah, we just got the bag off this one right here.
But the thing is this. If UConn knew that Hurley was going to stay all along, why even offer a new contract? He was already getting paid a pretty healthy amount of money prior to this deal. Why not just keep it the way it was? Why give him the new deal? Maybe it's because, you know what? You've been loyal to us. We're going to continue to stay loyal to you. You win back-to-back national championships. You know what? We'll rip up your previous deal, give you a new one, because we realize just how great a coach you are and what kind of a program you've built. It's the best program since Calhoun. And when Jim Calhoun was there, they won national championships, but they never had a dominant program like they have right now.
You know, it makes me wonder, will we see Hurley explore other options in the future? Let's say UConn has a couple down years and, you know, maybe a job like Duke opens up or another Kentucky type of job opens up again. I wonder if he'd entertain these. Not, of course, not this offseason, but maybe a couple off seasons from now, because as we know, things move very fast in college athletics. Things, as something seems to be solidified, like the lifetime contract with John Calipari, then, you know, next thing you know, he's the head coach of Arkansas.
That's true. The Lakers offered $70 million over 6 years, and Hurley turned that down. So you think about what he's getting now, $400,000 per year base, and then additional compensation rising every year for speaking, consulting, and media obligations. That's a very similar contract to what UTEP has structured for their last two hires, Joe Golding and Scotty Walden.
Yeah, very base salary, then everything else goes on top with all the appearances. I think maybe this is a new wave form, and it helps you with buyouts, right? Because when buyouts happen, it's only on a base salary, not the whole, $8 million right there.
All right, 2 down, 1 to go. We got a lot more in store for you here on the program. When we come back, a little UTEP football. We'll get to that next. Sports Talk continues, 600 ESPN El Paso. It's our final hour here today on a Monday. Chihuahuas will be back starting tomorrow. In fact, for those of you that are keeping track of the Chihuahuas season and want to follow their next games, they're going to be at Oklahoma City. 6:05 tomorrow, 6:05 Wednesday, 6:05 on Thursday as well. So the 6:05 going for Oklahoma City all week long after, when they begin tomorrow. And then it'll be 6:05 on Friday and Saturday. And then, Adrian, 12:05 on Sunday. And then they start their All-Star break, which doesn't get them back in action until Friday, July the 19th at home for a little 3-game mini set with the Sugarland Space Cowboys before going to hit the road against Salt Lake in a couple of weeks.
So other than that, I guess it's like a 4-day hiatus right there, 5-day, whatever that might be. It's all Chihuahuas baseball all month long here on 600 ESPN El Paso, which is exciting.
It is exciting. Love it. Hey, meanwhile, I'm looking right now at your UTEP football preview that you launched earlier this morning, breaking down the season ahead. As usual, when you put this together, you give everybody a little bit of everything. You include the football schedule with all the games as well as TV coverage. I should let everybody know as far as radio goes. Here's how radio is going to work. The first 4 games are expected to be on KLAQ. Now, we don't know for sure yet about the Colorado State game on Saturday, September 21st, because they have not set the time for that game yet. But we do know that Nebraska on the 31st at 1:30, Southern Utah the 7th at 7, Liberty the 14th at 4 o'clock. All 3 of those games will be airing on 95.5 KLAQ. Potentially the Colorado State game will as well. And then starting on Thursday, October 3rd with Sam Houston, those games will switch to 600 ESPN El Paso. So probably important to note radio coverage and how that's going to work to kind of kick things off. Minor Talk will air on 600 ESPN El Paso regardless. What we normally do is that if we have a Chihuahuas game and a UTEP game, as soon as the Miners are over and the Chihuahuas is over, then Adrian goes right to a business with Minor Talk. And that'll probably be the same as usual again this year. Back to your preview, Adrian. You previewed the offense, the Blue Blaze. You gave your MVP, your breakout players, and your X Factor. Then you looked at the defense, the Orange Swarm, same thing. MVP, breakout player, X factor. You gave out your way too early predictions and then topped it off with the record that you predict this team will finish. Now, we haven't done the season preview yet, the podcast, where we go game by game, week by week, and offer up wins and losses. You might alter your prediction by the podcast. It's very possible that the Minor Talk UTEP football preseason podcast, maybe they finish with a different record than what you wrote. But as of July the 8th, for the purpose of this article, you have the Miners right now 4-8.
Yeah, and maybe I should just stick with it because as I was going through it over the weekend, I was really having a lot of difficulty for the obvious reasons, right? We don't know a lot about this team. We don't know much about the roster other than it's been overhauled from last year. We know that only about a handful of starters returned from the Dana Dimmel era up to this season. From the spring game, my analysis was they were fast. They sped up the tempo offensively, but they were small as, when you looked at them size-wise. I do like, I was kind of going even back to some of the Minor Talk episodes over the weekend and kind of listening to what fans were hoping for. Fans wanted Power 5 transfers, Steve, and I think actually over this offseason they showed that, they're getting those guys who are Power 5 bounce backs. Now, to see them actually make an impact on the field, well, that's to be determined. We got to watch to see who actually stands out among them. And I'll remind everybody, when Dana Dimmel first came to UTEP, he had a lot of Power 5 bounce backs, including a lot of guys from Kansas State. Kyle Loxley was a Texas quarterback bounce back who was considered the number one junior college ranked quarterback at the time. So, there's a lot of similarities. History feels like it could repeat itself, and I think it all starts with that home opener against Southern Utah.
Couldn't agree with you more on that one. And by the way, although I will be stepping away starting tomorrow for a vacation, I've got an article coming out on the website probably either later today or tomorrow morning. Essentially, just kind of, I don't even know if I would say warning, but just letting Miner fans know maybe not to get their hopes up too much. I always, and by the way, I've been guilty of this. I'm not going to lie to you. I've been guilty of this because I have gotten my hopes up only to have them come crashing back down to earth, called out by listeners who say, hey, you were saying this is going to be a great year, and they're right. And I bought into the hype, and I was wrong. So my thought process this time around is maybe we should go at it a little differently, and that is don't expect a ton in year one. Be patient. Just expect a fun team, a team that can go out there and do some things, but don't expect 6, 7, 8 wins. That way, if they do fall short in year one, but they're fun to watch and you could see something building, it gives you a little more reason to be excited for the future instead of saying, oh my God, we thought this team was going to go back to a bowl game, and now here they are. They've only won 3 or 4 games. Scotty Walden doesn't know what he's doing, and they're going to do the same thing to him that they did after year one to Joe Golding when the team went from 20 wins in year one to being just about 500 or just under in year two.
Yeah, I think that how you could look at things over this offseason, Steve, and just really analyze things. First off, you're going to look at what has Scotty Walden promised, right? Well, he promised excitement with this program. He's delivered on that. Yep. He promised better recruiting, number 1 recruiting class out of Conference USA team rankings per 247 Sports and Rivals. So he delivered on that promise. And the next promise was to win. And so that's, to be left to see what can actually happen on the field. I feel like their schedule, though, is kind of like last year. Like what happened last year? Well, it was a snowball effect. You go on the road to Jacksonville State. You lose in a game that you think you were going to win.
Right.
Then you come back home. You beat Incarnate Word, but it wasn't that great of a win. It was like 28-14. Then you go on the road to Northwestern. You're favored in that game, by the way, which was, looking back on it, that's a little crazy right there. You go out and you're really disappointed, especially in that second half in that game. And then it's just kind of a snowball effect. You lose at Arizona. The must-win game at home against UNLV. They lose that one. And at that point, Steve, I was looking back at Minor Talk and some of our coverage. We predicted the season was over, and we were right.
Yes.
There was no way that they were going to come back from that. So look at the front end of this schedule this year. At Nebraska, Southern Utah, at Liberty, at Colorado State. Let's be realistic about these games.
No, it's
right
brutal.
Here.
It's brutal. There is no doubt about it. It's a terrible start to their schedule. And that's what I'm saying. That's why Southern Utah is so important. Because if they dropped Southern Utah, they might not get a chance to win a game until sometime in October.
Yeah, that's right. Even that Sam Houston game, which is a Thursday, October 3rd, it's not a guaranteed. There's no guaranteed wins, in my opinion, unless you're talking Kennesaw State or New Mexico State. Just based on everything that I've seen, and Battle of I-10, some will argue you can't call that a guaranteed win, knowing it's a rivalry game.
You're right. And who knows where both teams will be at the end of the season. We don't know.
Right.
We don't know how healthy they'll be. We don't know what kind of momentum they're going to have, positive or negative. We don't know. We just don't know. But I feel like, you know what, 4-8's fair. I do in year one. That is, you're playing 7 road games. 7 road games. Historically, this has never been a good road football team. Ever. So I don't necessarily think. Now, question for you. Win the West. Scotty Walden's phrase. Was that involving recruiting? Is that involving on the field in games? Or is that everything? Just win the West? Is that his mantra for UTEP football in general?
Yeah, so I think like a lot of these things, Blue Blaze, which means the offense, Orange Swarm, which is the defense. I think it's these mantras that'll just carry on for multiple meanings and just have a lot of different things behind it. So win the West could mean things like recruiting, and I think it was very heavy when they were going for the class of 2024. Win the West was their motto going into this season, similar to what UTEP football has done in years past. They call it like a season motto, like UTEP basketball is embracing the 1033 motto right now. I feel like it's more of a mantra than anything else.
Enrique Ortiz gets in on the show and says, I think the best way we can look at Scotty Walden's first year and possibly his career is how we look at Coach Prime. Expect great things and be happy with an improvement. I'm going to say this, though, okay? 2 weeks into the season, everybody thought Coach Prime was going to be completely competing for a national championship because he was going after people that doubted him. He was making it personal, talking about his team, and everything looked great early on for Colorado. And then they laid a colossal egg the last 2/3 of the season, and nobody said a word about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. But remember, early on, he was on ESPN. They were doing the Saturday game day. He was doing interviews. He was ripping reporters that were critical. I mean, it was like Deion Sanders was the only thing anybody was talking about in college football. But that went away real fast. I don't necessarily think Scotty Walden is going to have that kind of an effect where everybody's going to be talking UTEP football out of the gate around the country. They might hear locally, but that would be it. The difference is that unlike Colorado's early season, UTEP has a much, much tougher start out of the gate with 3 of the first 4 games on the road, and even that Southern Utah game at home. Look, we've talked about it. Last year, Austin Peay, who won 9 games, beat Southern Utah 48-45 in a real shootout. So let's not suddenly look at that game as a layup, because it's not. And even though, this is Division I and not FCS, you got to realize something. There's just a handful of players on this roster who played last season. This is an entirely different football team, and you wonder how long it will take to gel with all these new concepts.
Yeah, another thing on that, on just the Southern Utah point, because you hit on it, Austin Peay just squeezed past Southern Utah last year. Could be, a recipe for the Thunderbirds to try to get some revenge in that game. But forget any of that kind of stuff right there. FCS versus UTEP has just changed over the last decade. It used to be where UTEP would bring in an FCS opponent and just destroy them, demolish them, wouldn't even be close. Yeah, when you you would have some shaky seasons with UTEP football, which turns out to be some of the majority. Those games end up being difficult. But in the past 10 years, Steve, these have been a real challenge. It's not just difficult, a real challenge when you feel like it's supposed to be a layup. Last year's Incarnate Word game was close at halftime. You look 2 years before that, you look at some of the Abilene Christian matchups or the Stephen F. Austin matchups. Those were tough wins for UTEP. They ended up pulling it off. 2019, their only win came against Bailey Zappi and Houston Baptist in a field goal winning game.
Yep.
And the first game in the Dana Dimmel era at home, Northern Arizona, that was a loss for UTEP. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth right there. FCS is totally different now.
Check out Adrian's story, and it's up, UTEP Football 2024 preview, breaking down the season ahead. More in a moment as we continue. 17 past. Let's head over to Charlie 1 and get ourselves another traffic update. 21 past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. Free concert series, Cool Canyon Nights, presented by West Star. This Thursday night, McKelligan Canyon will be filled with the special sounds of the Selena Tribute, featuring Jessica y los Amores Prohibidos on the main stage and Gabriel Torres on the El Paso Community College CTE patio stage. By the way, VIP is sold out. Very nicely done. Joanna Barber will be hosting for us. Excited about that. This week's Cool Canyon Nights event is brought to you by the Oscar Arieta Agency. You can bundle your home and auto insurance and save with the Oscar Arieta Agency. Stop by their booth to register for some exclusive prizes, not to mention some of our sponsors as well, including Baby Tree Surrogacy for our VIP area, Pronto Body Shop for the back of the ticket, and also the after party with Twin Peaks Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views. For everything you need to know about Cool Canyon Nights, it's online at kisselpaso.com. 22 now past the hour as we continue here on Sports Talk. Again, great UTEP football preview, and it's up right now from Adrian. You can check that out. I've got an article coming up soon. I'll leave you with that until I come back. And, of course, Michael Plundo is working on his NFL previews. That is up on the site. We've got the NFC West and the North. Still to come, the East and the South. So he's working his way through the NFC, then the AFC, and love the fact that Michael is giving us a little taste of what he thinks will happen this year in the National Football League for 2024.
Yep, and I'm working on the NFC South as we speak right now. The NFC East article has been finished. Me and Adrian just need to do a couple edits on it, and we'll be on the website soon enough.
Excellent, excellent. El Paso Visuals Deportivos weighed in about an hour ago with this. Only asking, he tweets, because it's the times we live in. It's only July, and new players could change their mind. So when is the cutoff for players to be allowed to enter the transfer portal for college basketball? When are they locked in and rosters set? He followed that up with, obviously, I don't want any players to transfer. Basically wanted to know when the exact last date players are allowed to transfer in or out to play in upcoming season. Now, I looked at the transfer window as far as this, and what I noticed as far as basketball for the winter sports, Adrian, the first day was Monday, March 18th, and the final day was Wednesday, May the 1st. That is what I saw as far as the transfer window. I don't see any other transfer windows in 2024.
You know, I don't either, Steve, but then I also think of all the rules and regulations that have changed recently, so I feel like I just can't keep up. I'll just be honest with you, man. I can't keep up with the transfer portal windows. If you would tell me that there's somehow another window coming up before the actual season starts, whenever that could be between now and November, I wouldn't be shocked if that's the case. And let me also say this. I don't think this is going to happen, but I wouldn't be overly surprised if, like we just mentioned, that crowded backcourt, maybe somebody hits the portal before the season starts just trying to get another opportunity.
Here's what I've seen that's not included. It says, student athletes who plan to enroll as graduate students at their next school can enter the portal at any time during the academic year, but must enter the portal prior to the conclusion of their respective sports' final transfer windows.
Gosh, I just, yeah, I guess That tells you that grad transfers have more liberty than anybody else, right?
They do. They do. So they can enter at any time during the academic year, which means the academic year starts in August. So anybody who's going to be a graduate transfer would then be able to enter the transfer portal anytime starting in August. But they have to enter prior to the conclusion of their basketball's final transfer windows, which means I guess they can enter from like August to May is what I understand. So, it is kind of confusing. Again, why would somebody just, stick around in the summer and then graduate only to transfer out unless somebody doesn't get their graduate, maybe they're eligible as a graduate after the summer, and then they decide they want to go into the portal again and go someplace else. It is very confusing when you start to think about it.
Yeah, or maybe a player came into the mix that was going to probably steal your time, like your playing time right there, and you're kind of fearing, well, hey, if this is my last year, if this is my last rodeo, and I don't really think I'm going to be, playing, maybe I have an opportunity elsewhere, something like that. I just don't see it happening. It's so late in the process right here. Most of these rosters across Division I basketball have been finalized, so to see somebody hit the portal, something would have to happen. I don't see any of these guys hitting the portal unless maybe like Ivan said, it's a changing world, ever-changing world of college athletics, and maybe we do see something like that.
The only exception we see right now is players have 30 days to enter the portal from the date that their coaches leave their programs. So the coaching change rule is 30 days. So I find that kind of interesting because what that means is that if, let's say, a school loses their coach during the season, then you could have essentially, or even after the window, then players from that program could then could explore other opportunities, which is fair. I mean, I feel like that's a 30-day window where players should explore the transfer portal if there's a coaching change.
Yeah, like think about that late Oklahoma State hire right there for men's basketball. So you figure they had a little bit of a roster turnover. They've had new players come into the mix and stuff like that based on the transfer window and what was allowed for them after their coaching change.
But I'll say this, talking about UTEP, for example, Joe Golding did an amazing job this offseason. He kept his entire roster intact minus 2 walk-ons. I mean, every player that could come back did come back. And that really, that's hard to do. And, he told you, I guess, about a week ago that he was out of NIL money. Part of that could be because he used that money not just to bring in newcomers, but to keep his current talent so that they didn't go into the portal. So, you think about what you use NIL money for. I think the purpose really is not just to spend and bring talent in, but to use it to retain your existing roster. And if you have 8 or 9 guys coming back and you think about, trying to make sure that you compensate each of them enough to stay, that's going to add up after 8 or 9 players. You're probably looking at $150,000, $160,000, $200,000 in just retaining fees before you even talk about the money you used to bring in new talent.
I feel like I'm in a bit of a minority here, but I really like this roster as it is. And I know they have a scholarship available. I know what you're saying right there as far as NIL and what they don't have or what they have. And I do, after watching them for 3 weeks of practices on a limited basis on Mondays, I like the roster. They have urgency. My favorite roster that I've seen for UTEP basketball pretty much since like 2019-2020 season when they had that stacked group with Rodney Terry.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but you know how hard it is, though, to keep a roster in place in the portal era and try to do what they're doing right now? It's not easy.
That's almost unheard of. And I don't think it'll ever happen again. Like, I don't think next year you're going to see a great heap of guys coming back. Like, even some of the, guys who've been here for 1 or 2 seasons might not be here next year. It's just the reality of what this, how quickly things change in college basketball.
Well, let's put it this way. 5 players are graduating, so you already know he'll have 5 spots and perhaps 6 openings if he decides to hold the scholarship and not offer it up until next season.
Yeah, and maybe now that everybody's going in the portal and recruiting there's more opportunities to get guys like KJ Thomas, who comes as the fourth-ranked point guard out of the state of Texas in the class of 2024. So you get these higher-ranked prospects out of high school who might be ready to go. Look at David Terrell. He was ready to go. I mean, I was ready to throw him out on the court last year, and he did, and he was CUSA Freshman of the Year. Yeah. So this time around, I'm not saying KJ Thomas is going to do that, but you have opportunities to recruit that now if you're UTEP basketball.
Bottom of the hour, let's get one last Sports Center update. Michael Plundo is standing by and has this for us. Michael, what was the final of that Pirates game again?
8-2. Sorry, Steve.
How many runs did the Pirates score in the sixth inning in that one?
I actually did not watch the game as I was at work earlier, but I got notifications when O'Neal Cruz had his 2-run homer, so I do not know the answer to that.
They put a 5 spot up on the Mets in the sixth inning. It was actually, at the time, a 2-2 game. And then the Pirates busted it open in the sixth inning by scoring 5 times.
I'm seeing that right now after Brandon Nimmo homer to tie it in the top 6, and then Rowdy Tellez with a RBI single, and then Nick Gonzalez, NMSU boy, with scoring 2 runs in the bottom 6. So, yeah, it looks like they did go on a little rally there.
I like it. All right. This came in earlier from Esteban, who said, at 600 ESPN El Paso and Twitter and X, Steve, I stopped by Patsy Norman's cigar shop on Saturday to pick up some Churchills and congratulate her on her induction into the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame. When I left, I told her I'll tell Steve Kaplowitz you said hi. She responded, who? I had to remind her who you are. Oh, that's a great story. It's okay. I mean, listen, Patsy was great. We enjoyed interviewing her. We enjoyed inducting her. The fact that she has no idea who I am makes that even better, because she hasn't lived here in years. She's been through a heck of a lot of fun over the last month or so. And, names are, that's no big deal. She just knew, hey, she's going into the El Paso Athletic Hall of Fame. And by the way, that story is awesome. The fact that he mentioned that to her and her reaction was who, I love that story. It was so good, I had to read that on air today.
I just love the brutal honesty of Esteban's tweets, no matter what the subject is, no matter who the person is. And I like how I feel like we have some influence on Esteban. Like, he'll go to the places we talk about. Mm-hmm. He'll say hi to the people that we talk to here on the show. And he has some kind of connection to us here on Sports Talk without ever stepping foot in this building.
I agree with you. I love that about him. It's fantastic. And he already won last year's auction for the A&A All the Way Foundation and had Pinky. He gifted it to Pinky. Hey, speaking of that, did we find out who won this year?
We still haven't found out yet.
I'm leaving. I'm going on vacation. You don't even know who's going to be who's hosting. We got to make sure you save that for when I come back.
Oh, definitely. We'll definitely keep it for when you come back. The plan is the ballpark, the show, and a lot of fun for the winner. So maybe it's Esteban. Who knows?
I hope so. Esteban did follow up with this tweet recently. He said, those 8 or 9 returning basketball players, did any of them test the waters in the portal?
That's a big no. In football, you'll see him hit the portal, maybe come back. For basketball, everybody stayed. Not even a test, testing the waters, testing the NBA waters, none of that kind of stuff. The entire team remained intact. I heard that, off the court, maybe some of the guys were courted by other coaches and other teams in their DMs and in their social media, which I'm not a fan of whatsoever. But again, the players never jumped on any of those opportunities.
All right. Well, listen, that's, again, one of those situations where I'm not surprised. I am not surprised that people do that. And coaches will try to poach players. Why not? You can do anything you want right now. There's no rules. Think about it. It's the Wild West. You can do whatever you want. You're not going to get reported. The NCAA is not going to do anything. How can they try and throw something against you and going after a DM and tampering when you allow everything else? When you allow being able to buy players, how are you possibly going to put any sanctions on recruiting?
Exactly. I mean, I just referenced social media, Twitter and X. Like, all these coaches have social media accounts. All these coaches don't use social media like we use social media for fun and entertainment. They use it to find recruits, find prospects, and interact with those players and those said, candidates. And so when they're in the players' there's DMs and when they're saying, hey, great game, oh, by the way, grass is greener over here on this side, I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. But it happens at UTEP more than I feel like it happens at most schools. So, UTEP really, really has this. It happens in a lot of, other sports besides just basketball, football, volleyball, you name it. And, it's just the harsh reality of what UTEP is living in.
So true. So true. Watching the Willie Mays Memorial today, a lot of celebs there. I saw Jim Cott, the longtime big leaguer broadcaster. I saw Bill Clinton. President Clinton was speaking earlier. He had a long speech, in fact. Other dignitaries have been up there as well. It's, again, this is Joe Torre spoke a little while ago, and Joe, of course, played for the Braves in the 60s before moving on to the Cards and other teams. And I don't think Torre was – I don't know if Joe Torre ever played with Willie Mays in the Giants during his career, but I know they played together in the All-Star game, and they got to know each other well over the years. So it's a pretty again, there's no baseball game tonight. This was an event that San Francisco planned just to honor Willie Mays, and looks like they're doing a terrific job bringing all the stars out for it.
Yeah, I'm looking at Oracle Park right now, Steve. It looks like an amazing attendance right there. They say right now, this is from Jenny McCulkey. Attendance right now, it's looking like over 4,500 right now, lower bowl filled, according to the Giants here.
Okay. Did they charge for it, or was it a free event?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm going to have to dig on that one.
All right. Well, anyway, and remember, it's only 5:30 right now. I think this event started at 4 in San Francisco, so it's only 5:30 right now, and they're already 90 minutes in. And weather-wise, it looks like kind of a hot, breezy day out there at Oracle Park. So, yeah.
They did a great job also by putting chairs on the field. So I don't know. I'm assuming most of these people are media or people within the organization itself. But regardless, the setup looks great out there at Oracle Park.
Yeah, it really does. All right. 39 past as we continue. We'll wrap things up next in our final countdown as Sports Talk rolls along. Let's find out what maybe Michael and Alberto are thinking after 2 hours and 40 minutes of doing this. We'll get some of their thoughts on maybe some stories we haven't talked about yet or other items they want to cover. We'll do that next. 600 ESPN El Paso.